All right, today we are back with the this will be our fourth video on the channel. Huge.
Large.
As we're trying to grow this channel, trying to get to 1K before the NFL season. So make sure you're down there subscribing because we're going to have a ton of content coming out as live streams, regular videos. And today we have a special guest along with me and Jameson. Casey Settleman. Welcome. Welcome from Snapback.
Yeah,
I guess we'll have you on.
I specialize in season-long props.
All right. Well, that's what we're doing today. We're doing NFL season-long props. And as you can see on the graphic on the screen, there's a lot to go over. We have a lot to look at here.
Big
Jameson,
rainbow.
you want to break it down from what the colors, like what they're looking at?
Yeah. So right now, what we are looking at is every prop for the quarterbacks that is available on Underdog. However, we believe right now, in May, I know it's early, there is a lot of value to take players, unders, and overs on Underdog. So, to find the best value, up here on the chart, you will find Underdog's lines and the lines that the other books have. And we are kind of, in a way, saying, hey, the other books are real books. They're going to be a little bit sharper, so there is value right now in Underdog to go play on there. And value might just be like underestimating it. There might be locks on it.
There might be some absolute locks and steens.
The L word.
Guaranteed, maybe. We might have to throw in an LG.
The million.
Left side is yards for quarterbacks. Right side is touchdowns. And the colors, you can see there are keys down below breaking down the difference between Underdog and the other books. A light yellow is white is zero difference. It's the exact same. A light yellow, a little bit of a difference. Orange, mid difference. Red, big difference. Green, really big difference. And purple hitting that L word territory of a lock.
These are all quarterbacks we're going over today. If you guys want to see running backs, wide receivers, make sure to let us know in the comments below, and we can rip through damn near everything, huh?
All the locks at every
all the
position.
locks.
I think,
Every
I think
lock.
we're doing kicking points, too.
Kicking, yeah. We might as well get the
make that
kickers.
spreadsheet.
Yes, that's mine.
Yeah, you can.
We'll do that on Snapback Bets.
That's what's coming next. Is there anyone that stands out on this list that feels like your favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I think starting on the left side, just to break it open, according to the key, according to the numbers, the best value is the green and Bryce Young and purple and Derek Carr because Underdog has their numbers inflated by 250 yards in Bryce Young and 300 yards in Derek Carr. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
300 yards in Derek Carr, like that's a full extra game. 37.50, that's just value you got to take. I mean, if this was Tony on the show, he wouldn't need any numbers. He wouldn't need any reason.
He's just fading Derek Carr no matter what.
Straight personal biasness. But right here, the numbers say Derek Carr and Bryce Young are automatics, hitting that lock territory.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think for me, it's a balance of like, do you want to root against certain guy? It's a balance of value and the guy it is. And I think it being Derek Carr and the amount of value is like a perfect marriage. Like I'm down to continuously fade Derek Carr. Like if there was purple level value on like a Patrick Mahomes, like I don't know if that's something I would want to do anyways, just because like
It's
that
Patrick
sucks.
Mahomes.
It's Mahomes. This is a perfect marriage of value and like what's the ceiling for Derek Carr? Like not that high.
I think to find a lock, you got to like check 3 boxes. First one being like a narrative. Like you could buy into the story you're believing in that player. Second check box, like historically, however their stats been. And then the third box, what are the odds saying?
Yep.
Derek Carr, we could buy into that narrative. The odds are saying to take his under. Historically, he did hit this last season, but that was a full 17 games. They drafted Spencer Rattler. This team, I feel like, has given up on him. His last year in the Raiders, he didn't do this. So it's like, even though he did it last year, he doesn't have the cleanest track record ever. He's got 2.5 boxes checked, and that's getting real close to the L territory.
100%. And the way I look at it from more of a strategy standpoint, whenever you can see a book almost go against one another, that's what you love to see. Because like Underdog is giving us so much value here that this is like 2-unit play. Like I'm putting 2.5 on this with very big confidence. And I get it's not fun to bet an under, and that's what probably people are going to be like, oh, well, he could go, this could be Chris Olave's year, Michael Thomas coming back from the dead, like whatever the hell the narrative is, Rashid Shaheed season. But like, I think when you're looking at it from a pure, like you want to make the most money, like these are the things you have to look at, and Derek Carr's value just is too much to pass up. It's going to be in damn near every single one of my slips for the season long on almost whatever unit size I'm putting it on, and I'm going to be very confident, not even think about it. But we want to get into other guys on this list that we really like. Bryce Young is another very, very solid shout.
I think Bryce Young legitimately checks the lock box. You could buy into the narrative of like, yeah, the Panthers added things this offseason, and you would.
Yeah. He's going like
But I would
36.
also buy into the narrative like, until they prove it to me, they're still a bad team. The second box, statistically, historically, he didn't come close to this last year. He didn't even hit 3K last year. And box number 3, the odds are telling us.
How much
inflated.
do you put into, like, Carr, we have a large sample size. Young, and as much as we don't want to ignore it and do want to ignore it, like, it's a different team, only one season of sample size. Does
Different
that
coach.
change the size of your box that will be checked? Just because it's only 1 year of sample size?
I mean, it's just like a yes or no.
Okay,
There
fair
is
enough.
no,
Yeah,
like, how did we get there? What was the journey like? No, it was the destination. It was like, at the end of the day, he hasn't been there and he hasn't done that.
I feel like this one's harder for me just because he had 2,800 yards last year, and he's on a brand new coaching staff who throws the ball. I mean, you would
gave
think they're going to
Baker
throw the ball more
career numbers.
with Baker, yeah.
Yep.
Whereas a Frank Reich offense, they threw it like 24 times.
Yeah.
There were games where he had even less than that. Still racking up the 2,800, getting more weapons. It's a tough narrative, like that narrative box for me. But from a numbers standpoint, obviously you're
We
just
got
going to bet on the bad
boxes
team.
battling right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a great argument if Underdog had the line that the other books do.
Oh, yeah. I'm not
3,050.
touching other books. Like, I'm not touching what they have.
I wouldn't
Underdog,
be,
I would like the under a lot
Exactly.
better, and I would be comfortable with that.
And to your point earlier, Gut, like
box
people,
3 might be a bigger box. You
Yeah?
might,
Okay.
Box 3, the odds might play a big influence.
the last thing on your car thing, but I think it applies to everyone. You said people don't love taking lowers. It's not as fun, and I get that. But that's more for me, like a specific game, like a 1-game sample size that I know I'm watching the game. I don't really want to take a lower. Like, you're not watching every Panthers game and every Saints
fuck
game this
no.
year. Like, feel free. It's way more comfortable to take a lower on a season long where you're not
100%.
tracking it to the
good point.
play. Like, it's way
100%.
more comfortable taking a season long lower. And there's a lot of value. We saw all the parity with quarterback injuries last year. Like, a lot of these numbers are saying that they're going to play 15, 16 games, and half the players on this list didn't even get to 10.
Yeah.
So a lot of
No.
value on the lowers.
100%. Let me get your guys' thoughts. There's a lot of rookies that obviously came in this year, projected starters, and a lot of numbers we got from them. You look at the top of this chart, we have Jaden Daniels, JJ, Caleb, Bo, all on the list. Where are you guys at with rookies, and how do you guys look at these differentials and decide skill, talent, recruiting base, where they got drafted, all that sort of thing?
Rookies are tough because there is no box number 2 for them. Like,
Yeah.
you can look historically at their college stats, but like, I can't just assume that's going to transfer
course.
over directly. So it's got to be like a big difference. Like Jaden Daniels being in the light yellow, like 75 yards
Barely a
off,
difference.
that's not
Yeah.
enough. They do, I think, there's a lot of orange tiers out there where it's like a 76 to 150 yard difference, which is like worth looking at. But to me, rookies, you got to find like a serious outlier, and we will find some in the touchdowns when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Caleb, we've made like a whole video kind of like fading his ass.
Yeah.
And the
Interesting.
odds do lean that way, but he's one where, you know, the narrative box would go against that.
Yeah, the
where
narrative, he slings the rock, he's the next
Yeah.
Mahomes, whatever the hell.
Since
I
Andrew
mean-
Luck, yeah.
Yeah,
That goes to my
that guy.
my Mahomes thing. Like, for me, I was just saying you're not going to be watching it. Like, Caleb is someone I'm going to be more excited about watching. So taking his, whether this is one where like there's so much value on the board, so many places that whether or not, I'm not saying to take his higher, but it's not something I would love taking his lower. Like, that's one where I'm comfortable passing on the value.
See, and I think those are the conversations that like almost you brought up of like it's uncomfortable to take the lower at times, but on season longs, you look at the rookie numbers in the past,
Yep.
you look at all the history that like data shows, he needs to be a 1 of 5 quarterback to hit these lines.
Well-
and that's where it's like you bet the under and you take the numbers and you bet the
Sure.
whatever, the 20% chance it happens. Like if he gets within that 20% chance or whatever that number
Yeah.
actually is, and he gets that, cool, great. I lost that one bet. But you think about it from like a real numbers perspective, what are the odds of that? Like the number is so much more in favor of you hitting that under than it is the over. That like I feel like the value, if I'm going to put my money tied up into something, I'm going to take the thing that is an 80% chance plus. So again, maybe he's 1 of 1, whatever he's supposed to be, whatever. The odds tell me and the past is telling me that that's not going to happen. So that's kind of why I lean that. And that's more, again, the narrative box, the more overarching.
And to
other
be clear,
things.
like the narrative box is like up to you. Like whatever your narrative is. Like an example is like Trevor Lawrence is at 3,999 yards, 0.5, 4,000. When the books have him at 3,800, my narrative box is like he's going over no matter what. I love T-Law, but the odds are like he's inflated right now in underdog, and you should take the under, and that's where the value's at.
Yeah.
And with those boxes battling, that's just something I'm not going to do,
It's
and
like a
that's
stay
okay
away.
to pass up on it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's always interesting. And then we have some boxes here where there's zero difference.
Yeah.
What do you do with those?
Big narrative. It's like,
Big.
what vibes you getting?
I think we should touch on Herbert real quick because I think it's a really
he's
interesting
a polarizing
discussion.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Polarizing guy, zero difference in a brand new offense that historically, I know better than most, runs the ball to no avail. And no matter how talented your quarterback is, they're going to run it down your throat. And the Chargers may have more wins as a result, but for all those people out there who are unfamiliar with the Greg Roman system, I would be wary and cautious about taking that higher on Justin Herbert.
Yeah. I mean, we look at even Lamar's passing again. He's no Lamar Jackson. He's not going to run for 900
different
yards,
players,
whatever.
but still, same
completely.
offense.
But like
Yeah.
Greg Roman's never had a quarterback in his offense that's like Herbert. So like I'm
Yes
not
and no, but you saw Lamar last year with Todd Monken, who is an offensive coordinator who does like to open it up, and his passing stats were much better. And I mean, if we want to lead on to the fact that I'm taking the higher on Lamar Jackson, year 2 under Todd Monken,
Yeah, that's a L right
same
there.
weapons,
My narrative, my stats.
passing up on the. I don't care that there's a
My
difference.
3 boxes are legitimately all checked on
For
Lamar
Lamar.
Jackson under. All like it's in the
And there's
L
and there's
L word
value for
territory.
Lamar there at
Yeah.
the 151 difference. Like, even I would probably lean Lamar under 100%. But again, it's just you love the player.
course.
You want to root for him.
Yep.
That's fine. If you want to do that, if you want to lose your money, that's fine. We get that.
Go ahead, King.
Go ahead,
Well,
pop off.
I didn't give you a chance to respond on the Herbert thing.
That is my response for Herbert. Like, if I was looking at this one way, I was like, okay, what do my boxes say? Narratively, biasly, I just like him. I think he's going to go over. I think he's got the arm. Historically, his stats himself and statistically, he's crushed this anytime he's finished it. Odds, it doesn't matter. The only other stats to say the under is the Greg Roman factor, but to me, like, that's just being brushed off. Like, yeah, Greg Roman never has had a QB like Herbert. Like, that's the only reason. Like, he hasn't had a QB.
I don't know if that's true. I think that's his offense is made to run the ball down your throat. And I understand he's in the places that he is because he's supported by running quarterbacks. And I think his offense may hurt a little by the fact that, or maybe we see he deviates from his original offense because he has Herbert.
I think it's just like, I'm not saying Herbert's going to go out there and throw 4,500 or 5,000 like he has before, and that's in his bag. I think this has just hit a very disrespectful point. Like, if this was at T-Law, 3,999, or even Josh Allen's kind of low at 3,800, that's different. But, like, this is the low of lows. Like, you see Caleb Williams at 3,550, like, they're kissing. Like, that's just not the same territory they should be in.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, and you look at guys, and this is going to, again, switch to more of a value perspective. There's zero difference in a guy like Geno Smith. And he just got a completely pass-heavy offensive coordinator who's coming off 2 seasons in a row leading the NCAA with 369 yards a game passing. The Michael Penix narrative of him and Geno really kind of have the same play style, sit in the pocket. They can roll out if they need. They're not really going to be a designed run team. He could see literally almost 40 attempts a game. His line is set at 3,400.
Yeah, and I mean, prior to last year, I mean, he set the Seahawks franchise record in passing yards, so that's in his bag.
He babied Russ.
If you want to go to checkbox number 2, but
I have a question. What is their backup quarterback situation? Like
Sam Howell.
Okay.
Slings the rock, as we
That's
saw
what
last season.
I'm just curious if there's like an opening if things aren't going well to get that young guy in there.
I mean,
if, you know,
maybe.
you got the Mike McDonald insight. What's he gonna do?
He's a defensive guy. That's not. I don't know.
He's just gonna be like, you figured out.
Essentially.
I'll get the DBs in check.
Essentially. They're gonna have a good defense. I'll tell you that much.
Okay, now my last question, because again, we're really taking everything here so far that we've mentioned. CJ Stroud is the only one with an over at 0.95 and under boosted. Do we like the boosted under?
For only 100-yard difference, I don't, because you could also see, I mean, we've talked about this, how like that lean doesn't matter. Like the over is at minus 118 on the books and the under is at minus 108, which is like literally nothing.
Yeah.
But that's like also nothing enough for making me to be like, I'm out. I just don't want to touch it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
If they're like,
Even though he's tearing his ACL this year, that you said.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
he is chalk.
You're praying on CJ
We're not
Stroud's
praying.
down.
We're
We're
just like
injury
predicting.
prediction.
That's so
Our injuries
sad.
predictions. We'll have that video out. Don't worry.
Damn, that's a sad video
My-
you
that
guys are
would
putting
be
out.
like 1 million views. You just made a TikTok like, here's my top 5 most likely to get injured players. CJ Stroud's number
awful.
1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Ohio State guy. Was at college with CJ Stroud. Again,
Did his homework.
If the value is on the under, it's something I'm just gonna stay away from. I'm not saying take us higher, but like
He's one, like you said, though, where you probably will watch every game.
That's what I'm saying.
That's going to hurt to take
exactly.
the
That's why that's just one that I stay away. That never taking an under on like a Stroud this year, just because it'll be fun to watch him ball out if he does.
Yeah.
Now, I do have one on the board where I really like the under from an underdog perspective. It's not a huge difference, and it's a big name, and that's Dak Prescott.
Interesting.
40 to 100 yards feels like just a lot for me.
Would-
I get he's coming off really his best season of all time. They didn't really add any weapons. My question is they're not going to really have a run game. I don't know how that offense is really going to look this year. I think I'm more fading the offense than the player.
Did they have a run game last year though?
They did a solid enough to where like Tony Pollard,
he
he had
was
15 carries a
mids.
game.
Yeah.
Like they still ran the ball a good amount.
To run it last year.
Yeah,
what I'm
like
saying.
they
They
made an
don't have
emphasis. But that's where I'm like, does this offense have that explosion? Do they score 30 points a game like they did the end of last season? Do they get shut down like they did against Green Bay, where they drop 6 every play and they're cooked, and he throws 2 pick sixes?
I mean,
So
funny enough, you're pointing to a game where he threw for a pretty
oh no, he
sick
threw.
amount of points. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
obviously
because
it's a playoff
of the
game and they're gonna
situation.
have to
Yes,
win,
of course.
I don't have a strong lean.
Me-
Like,
Okay.
like checkbox number 3, you're saying, yeah, the value's in the under. 150 yards is a solid difference, but
just
like CeeDee Lamb's going as wide receiver 1 in fantasy this year. Like that tells me.
So
like,
that means he's definitely chalked.
yeah, so that means he's
100%.
gonna be a bust. And
Yeah,
the
that
under
means
is the
he's
move.
busting for
this
sure.
could be an overthink, but like for me, I hate taking lowers on quarterbacks that are going to play more than half of their games in a dome.
All right, that's
Like, I
interesting.
think a lot
That's a
of-
good perspective. Okay.
I mean, you look at last year, there were a lot of weeks, especially once it started getting cold out, like probably week 12 and past, we were talking about so many snow games, wind games, where quarterbacks' lines were at 150, 200 yards because of the weather. And then you have a guy like Dak who's going to be playing in a dome a bunch. It's just like,
So Derek Carr, we're over for sure.
we're still. Once again, you point out the facts and then you determine what's important in this certain circumstance.
All right, well, we can move to passing touchdowns. I think we pretty much have yards out of the way. Slam J.J. McCarthy's under as well. Passing
With that.
touchdowns. There's a lot of value.
Let's just go straight into the Dak one because that's like the
Yeah.
biggest outlier here. You guys can see the key at the bottom, pretty much same color coding, white, 0 difference, and then it tiers up orange, red, green, and purple. Dak's in the extreme tier. There is a boost adjustment. They know the under is favored here, but it is still a 3 touchdown difference compared to the other books. And on the odds, minus 122 versus minus 104, that's bigger than like the slight 108, 118 we were talking about earlier. Again, not a whole lot, but it's still enough to where even if you're not getting max like value here, lock is a lock. Like if it's gonna hit, value is like it's plus money somewhere at the end of the day. You're gonna be making more money if it's a lock.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really like that. Pairing that with Anthony Richardson just seems to make sense.
Yeah,
Get that value.
AR again. He's the worst one on here. He's a 4 touchdown difference.
Yeah,
to
that
the books.
is
That's
insane.
as big as it, like.
See, that's the level where even if you think AR is the MVP of the
Yeah,
NFL, that's
like-
just value you simply can't pass.
No,
up.
that is the like mega 5 units.
Yeah.
You just put it all
Like
on
I want
there.
to put emphasis. Like I think there's a good amount of green ones on here. 2 touchdown difference. I think that's like really good value. But like
4 touchdown is insane.
That's like that is you
No,
place
yeah.
that bet with almost any pair and you just rock it. That
like-
Derek Carr done.
we're saying this in like a comical tone, but like underdog will catch on to this. They will
without
adjust
a
that
doubt.
line. I know you're probably like, yeah, I'm gonna keep that in my mind for when season comes around. They will change it before the season,
wait.
and this will be at
This won't be here in 2 weeks.
no, yeah. So like when this comes out, like I know it's early. It seems odd to lock up your money this long, but like this is when you should because the best numbers and
value.
advantages are out there.
Yeah, so make sure when you're on Underdog you're using code BDG because you'll get an extra $250 when you use our code and get a deposit half match. But
250 locked up?
250 locked up.
Scary.
Yeah.
But if you could 20x it and turn it to like over 4K, that's a
Then
good
you're in
investment.
Casey
That's a
territory.
good.
Yeah,
that's
that's,
a-
that's scary for them.
Underdog's going to be shitting their britches after this one. All right, so we have a ton of value on here. We like AR. We like Dak. Any other names that are really popping off that seem just scream value?
Just to be clear, The green and red are very similar. It's a 2 touchdown difference, but the red ones, there is a like odds boost to where they're understanding that there's a lack of value. So green is better value for you, but red is still worthy of looking at. But the green ones I wanted to fade was Jaden Daniels,
Easy
back
money.
to the rookies.
Easy money.
Sitting at 19.5 compared to 17.5. I think people forget, like, rookie years, like, of these 5 rookie quarterbacks that are going to start, 3 of them are probably going to be dog shit. Like,
3 of them are going to be dog shit. One of them's going to finish top 20.
Like, Carson Wentz, who in his second year went on to the Super Bowl, got hurt, whatever. But his rookie year, he had like 12 touchdowns. Zach Wilson started most of his rookie year, like 9 touchdowns. Like, you can have a shit year as a rookie and still be fine the following year. Bryce Young, not T-Law.
Yeah.
Horrible year his rookie year.
Supposed to be the next Peyton Manning.
Just assuming he's going to get right around that. You need him to have 20. I like the under. I like the value.
Yeah.
All boxes are checked on Jaden
Even the
Daniels.
college stats like mark that one. He had one big year.
Period.
Like one big year with 2 top 17 wide receivers going against a weaker SEC schedule this year. Does he do it in the NFL level like that?
I think these numbers are high because we saw Sam Howell last year just yuck the ball with
And that's not the same
carefree.
off. And also the
Exactly.
Cliff Kingsbury narrative. Yeah, no, I get all of that for sure.
No Jaden Daniels around here.
I low-key also really like the lean of Jalen Hurts. I get it is a little bit different there. But him having 23, it just feels like in the offense now with Saquon too added. Like maybe he'll have a dump-off catch or not, but the tush push is still there. They're still going to get a ton of rushing touchdowns. I feel like realistically, I like his under on passing and rushing touchdowns this season. I know he's an MVP candidate or whatever. But with now Saquon there, they're going to run the rock. Like, they're going to make that an effort. Like, Swift got a ton of carries. He's just inefficient as a runner. Saquon's not. Saquon is going to be an efficient player who's a huge addition to this offense. I get there's no Jason Kelsey, but with how good that O-line is, I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference.
What do you think about Kellen Moore as the OC? Like, I think a lot of their struggles last year were because of the new offensive coordinator that was brought in. I think you have a better offensive coordinator who's also been in that division. I see the 2 touchdown value, so maybe it's a stay away, but I see a big bounce back year for Hurts personally.
I kind of sit in the middle where, like, I think I can agree with both, but even a bounce back year, Jalen Hurts, the most he's ever thrown is 23. So, like, even
so
a good
he's-
year is
probably,
like this.
I'm thinking, it's just not one that I would personally fade, but I'm not saying go hammer the over.
No, yeah. I think that's more I think that's definitely preference on
definitely.
where you see the value of the Eagles. I have them as my like sleeper bad team this year that we put on the board or whatever. I don't think they're going to – I think they're going to be a solid team. I just don't see them being this God squad that everyone thinks they're going to be. One injury and Quez Watkins is your wide receiver too. Don't know how much I love it type vibe. Or now John Ross, as we just saw. John Ross is now going to be the massive addition that changes everything. I don't know how I feel about it. But, yeah. Anyone else you guys
Another
really –
one, like, just to, like, be clear, like, the green, like, you see Patrick Mahomes. Technically, there's value on underdog compared to the books, but, like, that's one. The narrative box is just too strong. Like, you don't go against him. Just to give example, like, don't take the color code verbatim. Like, think through what this says.
The one I like is Jared Goff. I see the 2 touchdown difference there, and I think the Lions are going to be extremely solid. I just think last year maybe they caught lightning in a bottle just a little bit. I think they're going to be a solid team, but
we got mixed opinions in the office about the Lions.
I just you look at him. I understand the offense he's in and the weapons around him, but you look at where his numbers are at versus those other quarterbacks, and it's like you're talking about all top 6, 7 quarterbacks that are in that 28.5, 29.5 tier. And then does Goff really fit in there? I know it's not all talent that goes into these lines that are made. I understand they're a high-flying offense in a dome once again, but that's one that I see maybe they're still a playoff team, they're still a solid team, but maybe a slight regression from last year.
Yeah, I can get behind
big
it.
Jahmyr Gibbs season. Like,
another year on no longer a rookie running back,
It's now that I'm seeing this, CJ Stroud is plus money for his under, right? At 28.5, where the value lies.
Which is weird, which is like an inverse of his yards.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that. 29 tugs.
It's a lot.
Last year having 23. That is a big jump. I get Stephon Diggs is there, but also Joe Mixon just got added to this offense, who, in my opinion,
That's a
big
good
upgrade
point.
from Devin Singletary last year.
How many games did he miss last year? 4, though?
No, I thought it was 2. He had 15, played 15
Stroud, I
games.
think, only missed 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I'm a Stroud fanboy, but like I agree.
I think
they're the most hyped up offense player team.
I think they'll
the NFL
score a
right
lot,
now.
but I
Yeah.
think it will be a lot of Joe Mixon will be involved.
Yep.
Like I don't think
Also,
he's gonna just.
If you just skim through him being at 28.5, like that's like the third highest on here.
Yeah, like he's in that golf tier who's expected a lot. Like
Kirk Cousins, Jordan Love's got high
I saw, when I saw
expectations.
that one was a little striking to me.
I mean, they are like Jordan Love has the biggest odds adjustment at the unders at 0.85x, so they're kind of like heavily
they're
leaning.
like, yeah, he's doing it.
But like,
Still,
I'm
put
down.
the bar there.
I mean, you're not taking straights because we're on underdog. I'm gonna do a pick 3 or 4. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take that 0.85 on the lower on Jordan Love. You know, like, I'll
Yeah,
take
no,
that.
100%. That's the nice
the
part.
second box though would disagree. Last year he was second in touchdowns, had over 30.
And narrative box, that's your Super Bowl champ.
That's
So
true,
yeah,
yeah.
that's not.
Puts me in a fucking blender.
Yeah.
One that I'm like delusional on, like I don't care what the odds say. Back to T-Law, sitting at 22.5, plus money to take the over.
I mean, you look at the quarterbacks around that number, and it's like, wow.
Lamar, like he's got the
No,
same
I mean,
as Lamar.
Derek Carr is at Geno Smith's at 22.5.
Yeah.
Derek Carr's at 23.5.
And he's plus money.
No, I don't hate that.
Like I'm sorry, like there's a good theme to this video. There was good analytical takeaways. T-Law out the window because the odds kind of tell you there's value in the under.
But plus
Not
money,
here.
plus money here. You can't resist that.
No, not a BDGE. T-Law to the moon. trust.
T-Law is so to the moon.
Lock up that $250 free dollars you get to play with.
Put him on
T-Law.
MVP as well. Might as well just throw it in. All right.
Any
Well,
others?
I think that's pretty much about it. Make sure you
Yeah.
lock up the value. Derek Carr, Anthony Richardson, maybe a little Dak value there. If
I
you
think my
like that.
favorites was Carr under yards, Young under yards, Jaden Daniels under touchdowns, Dak under touchdowns, Anthony Richardson under touchdowns.
Lock it up.
I already got a slip on it.
A 5
Right.
guy lower slip. That's like you hate yourself, but you love money. Type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
We love
love that.
green.
And we're making a lot of money here. And again, make sure you're using our code BDG when you sign up on Underdog because you'll get a free $250 when you deposit. Can't get much better than that, huh?
No, you literally
Can't get much better than that. Plus, you can get a free half a point square to throw any of these lines on. So you're literally, that under on Derek Carr, literally free money.
Good point.
Like it's free money. You pair it with that, half a yard,
if you
guaranteed
want
locks.
one over, there you go.
There you go. Lock it up. And we'll catch you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. Let us know what you want to see next, what graphs you want to see next. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Thanks.